After the battle with the Brontos, Herbivore Island was finally ours again. The problem is, winning the battle didn't answer the bigger question. Should we actually stay here? So over the last few days, I've been looking at different places around the island, checking out your poll responses, and trying to figure out where the future of this challenge should be. Today, we're deciding once and for all where our next home will be. So taking a look at the poll I put out the other day, more than 70% of you have agreed that it's time to leave Herbivore Island. So today, guys, let's check out a couple of base locations. Alright guys, so here we are at base location number 1. This is at roughly 73.3 latitude, 78.2 longitude. I think how I'm going to do this is, I'm going to talk about the positives first. I'm going to talk about the things that I like about this base location. Then I'm going to talk about the things I don't necessarily like, and ultimately, why we are not going to be building here in this series. But getting started, guys, taking a look at the map real quick, if we take a trip down memory lane, if you will, we started this series over in South Zone 2. We ended up building in a bit of a cave-ish kind of area. We then ended up moving to the little Lagoon Cove area in South Zone 2. From there, we took a raft over to Herbivore Island, and if you're thinking of terms of story progression, this base location probably makes the most sense. It's relatively close to Herbivore Island. To give you guys an idea, Echo is able to make the trip over to Herbivore Island without having to stop for stam. Echo has 1176 in stam, just to give you guys an idea, but pulling up the map here, we are officially inland. Of course, we're not necessarily centralized to the map, but we are more inland than we have been on Herbivore Island. We are also relatively close to Green Ob. We're also pretty close to the main river here, where there's been a lot of activity. We've tamed a lot of creatures there, so we are a little bit closer to the action, if you will. This location in particular, I do like because, of course, being in the level 5 challenge where we are only taming level 5 creatures, yeah, we need a base that's off the ground, because if we have to deal with the stuff that's down here, this can get a little dicey. Just to give you an idea, as I was flying in here, I did see a raptor pack. I believe I also saw a alpha raptor somewhere around here, so not having to deal with that is certainly really nice. But let's talk about the negatives now, because the first thing you guys might have noticed, that was a relatively quick turnaround trip to kind of give you guys an idea of how big this area is. It's really not that big, which this, I will say, will be either a positive or a negative. It kind of depends on how you feel about this, but that would kind of require you to get a little creative when it comes to a build. You can, of course, go ahead and use this whole area, or you can use a lot of bridges and kind of connect all of these other plateaus to your main plateau here. So, for example, we have this big area right next to it, and again, it's off the ground, so we don't have to deal with alpha raptors and all that kind of stuff. There's the alpha raptor I talked about before. And this area is probably 2 times the size of the previous plateau. So if you were to go ahead and build here, I would definitely recommend make some bridges. So for example, I'd probably connect this little spot right here where it kind of curves out. I know it's a little tough to see, but this little curve right here, I'd probably connect these two if I could right here to connect these. I would probably go ahead and connect to the mainland too. So I would make a bridge somewhere over here to connect to this. I would also go ahead and make a bridge probably from the small one over to the mainland over here. And then I would also probably make another bridge from here to here. Again, just to connect to the mainland, so it's a little bit easier. We don't have to rely on the Argent as much. If I want to go out with the Mammoth, if I want to go out with the Theri in order to gather supplies, I don't have to bring the Argent over, land the Argent, throw the Cryo out, get the stuff, put the stuff on the Argent. I can just use those dinos freely, but the negative to that is it would require a bunch of material. I will tell you guys that I have actually done this plan over in ASE. This was a series that we did a while ago. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot of patience. And personally, for right now, I just don't know if I have that motivation to do so, if you will. If this was a series where we had 150 dinos and all that kind of stuff, where we can just load the dinos up with a crazy amount of materials, might be something I'd be looking to do. But in the level 5 challenge here, I would say probably not, if I'm going to be honest. And here we are, guys, at base location number 2. Yep, you guessed it, guys. It's Hidden Lake. Yeah, Hidden Lake is just one of those places, guys. It was an absolute amazing place to build in ASE, and it's still absolutely awesome here in ASA, if not actually better. But although there are a bunch of amazing things about this place, which of course we'll go over, there's a couple of glaring reasons why we're not actually going to be building here in this series. But let's talk about the positives first. First of all, you have a crazy amount of space to work with here. Whether you want to build a small little base, whether you want to build a massive compound, whatever you choose, you can honestly do. And then on top of that too, all of these pathways in, you can just put up gates and walls and kind of just cut them off. You would just have to do a little bit back there, a little bit on the side, and then a little bit over in this direction too, and you've pretty much cut off most creatures being able to wander in and everything. Now, like I said, you can make your base as small or as big as you want. In the past, I built a base up here, and it actually worked out pretty well. This is actually relatively flat once you go ahead and take all of this stuff out. We got a raptor coming after us, so let's get back up in the air. But if you're interested in doing the compound kind of idea that I mentioned with the previous base location, you can do that. There's a lot of ridges and everything here where you can probably make connecting paths and make little buildings. You can kind of do whatever you want with this place. It's kind of the world is your oyster, if you will. A couple of things that this location has that the first location doesn't is, although both have a water source, this one you can breed megs in. You can also breed bassies in. I'm going to be honest, I'm not entirely sure about mosas, though. I haven't done that, if I'm going to be honest, but you can breed the other two. I have personally done that on ASE, so I can definitely confirm that. Another thing this area has is, although you're not centralized on the map, you just have a bunch of stuff around here, honestly, which is really nice. You have Carno Island out there, so if you're looking for a particular level 5 creature like, I don't know, a saber... It's been a constant struggle for me finding sabers, honestly. But you can farm that area to get yourself some sabers, some Carnos, some Rexes, Argents, what have you. You got a bunch of different creatures out there, which is certainly nice. You have the snow biome, so kind of looking towards the Broodmother fight and everything. Perfect spot to try to find Megatheriums and all that. You do have access to a ton of metal with Polymer Mountain, and then also Giga Mountain, which, side note on Giga Mountain, I personally haven't seen a Giga over on Giga Mountain, so are we still calling it Giga Mountain, or have we decided on a different name? But that being said, you just have a bunch of resources in this area to be able to progress. Heck, even in your own area, you have cementing paste, which is certainly really, really nice. Now, of course, like I said, this area is almost perfect, but not necessarily for this series here. So let's talk about the reasons why I'm not going to go ahead and build here in this series. Firstly, you're on ground level. You guys saw it when we landed for 2 seconds. We ended up getting attacked by a raptor. Imagine that every single day. I really don't want to have to continuously have to fight and battle for spots, because although that was a raptor, you can get Theries here. When I was originally searching this area, there was a level, I think, 85 Thery. You also have alphas here, so we would have to deal with an alpha raptor, and it's just kind of at that point where I don't want to be on ground level, I don't want to have to deal with stuff, and I feel I don't want to have to keep battling for my base location. So although this is a really, really awesome spot, just not going to work for the level 5 challenge. Now, before we get to the final spot, and ultimately the place that I will be building, I did want to throw you guys an honorable mention, and I did not pick the right spot to do that in, but you guys will see my face a little bit. I do have an honorable mention that I did want to show off. All right, guys, so for full transparency, I am not flying the Argent all the way over to the honorable mention spot because it's literally on the other side of the map. So we are just going to use fly mode to get there. There is the spot. I almost overshot it. Let's get to honorable mention. Here we go. All right, guys, so here we are at honorable mention. If you guys are curious, we are at roughly 47.3 latitude, 14.1 longitude. I've actually just realized I did not give you guys the coordinates of Hidden Lake. I think everybody knows where Hidden Lake is, but I think I'll just throw the coordinates up on screen now if you guys are curious. But this location, guys, I have built here back in ASE. This is a gorgeous spot. I mean, first of all, take a look at that backdrop. I mean, just having the waterfall in the background is absolutely awesome. This area is relatively flat, so you can build as small or as big as you want. You do have access to water, of course, via the waterfall or this river here. You have access to the ocean in order to do your underwater breeding and all that kind of stuff. Resources-wise and areas around you, you, of course, have the snow biome ahead of you. You have the mosh pit, so you can get yourself some pretty interesting creatures there. You're relatively close to the volcano to get your obsidian and metal and all that fun stuff. It's a really nice area, honestly, and I don't really have too many complaints about this area except the fact that, yeah, again, we're down on the main level, so a creature can pretty much just come in and kind of cause havoc, which I'm really not looking for here in this series at this point. I kind of want to break from having to fight stuff. Of course, having to deal with the Brontos for as long as we did on Herbivore Island. But one thing I do want to mention, if you guys are on the fence about this area, I do want to throw this out there. This river up ahead, along with kind of the land that follows this river, you can get some pretty dangerous creatures, including Spinos, including Rexes, including Brontos. You can get Brontos in this little ridge area here, so just be careful. I was gonna say there was a Bronto here earlier. There was also I hear it. Yep, there's the Bronto right there. Not something I'm looking to deal with. And then on top of that, what is it fighting right now? Oh, there's a Rex. And there's another Rex. Yeah, so I'm not really looking for a place to build, although it's absolutely gorgeous of an area. I'm not really looking for a place to build that randomly I can have a Rex, a Spino, a Bronto literally just fall upon our base, which is why, unfortunately, again, really nice spot, just not going to work here with the level 5 challenge. No! I was just about to get you. Shoot. So here we go, guys. Let's show off the official base location for the level 5 challenge. Here it is, guys. Yeah, it's going to be this ridge right here. Now, couple things I really like about this spot. Let's first mention the coordinates this time. 40.1 latitude, 70.7 longitude. We are obviously really, really high off the ground. We are not going to have to deal with creatures around us. It's a relatively nice area. You have a lot going for you here. We have, of course, Giga Mountain right there. We have Polymer Mountain behind us, so we just have a ton of different resources. We got a lot of loot drops, especially yellow drops with a ring around it. We are definitely going to have to take a quick look at that before we wrap up this episode. Overall, it's a really centralized location. If we take a look at the map, like I mentioned, the metal nodes that we have access to, we're relatively close to the redwoods too. So looking for acros, looking for phylas, looking for... We have the swampy bits right there, so looking for Dinosuchuses, Baryonyxes, all that. We're in a relatively good area here. I really like this spot. It's also a very, very flat spot too. But most notably, the thing you guys may have noticed if you are viewers of the ASE Level 5 Challenge series, yeah, this is actually the same spot that we built in the Level 5 Challenge over on ASE. So I wanted to give a little homage to that series. I felt like, at the end of the day, checking out all these base locations, This honestly was the one. And although it doesn't have a crazy amount of room here, I think I am going to use... I'm going to use a little bit of motivation that I had for the first base location that we showed off and potentially build a bridge. Now, it's going to be a pretty long bridge, but it is going to connect this plateau, if you will, to this plateau. Here we go. Eventually we get there. This plateau, which you guys might know of, is, of course, the one that they show off in the trailer, the one that has a really, really nice view to begin with. This place right here, which is absolutely gorgeous. And the only reason why I am not going to be building here specifically, I'm going to be building on the other plateau, is I don't want to cut off these metal nodes. And I feel like if I do end up building here, I would potentially cut these off. And I want to keep them open for a ton of metal production from us in the future. So I think this spot is going to work out very, very well for us. It's going to be a lot of moving stuff back and forth. I will say that is probably the biggest downside of picking a location like this. The fact that Herbivore Island is not even on the map right now. It is all the way down past the bottom right-hand corner. The good news for you guys is you're not going to be seeing that. All of that transport and stuff is going to be done off-cam. So good news for you, bad news for me. It will take a couple of trips, but at the end of the day, I am very, very happy making this trip. I'm excited to see what I can do with this base location and everything because, of course, using it in the past is definitely a motivator to make this thing look as nice as I possibly can. But a couple of things before we wrap up this episode. First, of course, we're going to need to check out this loot drop. Let's see what we have. And maybe this is just the island telling us, yeah, no, this is a location. This is the location you should be choosing. Let's see. Okay, that's a lot of good stuff. We'll take a look at that in a second because I'm pretty sure I saw a Trudon on the ground. Let's see what we ended up getting here. That is a Bassie saddle, and a very good Bassie saddle at that. A very good Megalosaurus saddle, a very good set of flippers, and a very good Journeyman Sarco saddle. So you know what? I think the island approves, guys. I think the island is telling us, yeah, this feels right. This is going to be our next base location. Before I end the video, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. Before we start building our new base, I'm going to be checking out a couple of other games I've wanted to play on the channel for a while. I think it'll be a nice change of pace before we jump back into the next chapter of this challenge. Again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.